Hey all, Farmer Dre back at it. It's another beautiful day here on the farm. I am out here in these strawberries and I'm going to show you guys what we're doing at the strawberries now and what you can expect from the plant perspective this fall. So these are plastic culture strawberries. Plastic culture strawberries are grown like an annual plant. So you lay the plastic drip tape, everything in the fall, you go through plant to plants, then they grow as much as they can in the fall, they overwinter, in the spring they flower, they bloom, we harvest, then the entire field is done for. We come through here and restart. And with annual plastic culture strawberries, there's one main thing you got to do in the fall to keep all the energy and the nutrients and everything focused on the plant themselves and focused on the crop for next year, and that is pulling the runners off the strawberry plants. So if you guys aren't familiar with runners, or what they call the daughter plants, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. These are Chandler right here, the variety. If you guys remember, whenever we did plant these, they're a lot smaller, but they've kicked back real nice and these plants are looking good. But let me show you the runners here. So you have a beautiful healthy strawberry plant that's been grown here, and this right here, this is a daughter plant, or what we call the runner. And it's called the runner because it's trying to run off and start an entire new plant here. So since we're not growing the plants here, since me as a farmer, we grow the fruit and we sell the fruit. So we grow the plants, our money is made into the fruit, and we don't make our money off the plants. So for me as a farmer, we try to produce as many flower blooms and as many berries as possible with these strawberry plants. So the way that works is we plant them in the fall, we develop the crowns and the fingers in the root system. So the crowns of the strawberry plants, this is it right here, that's the crown of the strawberry plant, and you can see we have a few developed already. And we develop those flower crowns, and those crowns, they send out the blooms next spring. So my goal as a farmer this fall is to produce as many crowns as possible so that in the spring they go ahead and bloom as many blooms as possible so we can start harvesting. So these runners here, these runners are trying to produce an entire different plant. So we come through here once or twice a spring. It's our first time coming through here this year, and we go through and pull off these runners. As you can see here, this runner was in this hole right here. So this is an entire new strawberry plant. So what we do with these, even though they're not going to produce as much because it's too late in the season, let's say we have a blank here, we go through here and put that in the hole just to have something growing. But initially, that's an entire new strawberry plant. So we come through here, it's a long bending over job, but we come through here and pull off all of the runners here. So the reason you want to pull off the runners is so the plant will not grow vegetatively, but they will grow the crowns and grow the flowers for next year. So this is a very important job, one of the most important in the fall. This is the most labor intensive job that we have here as a farmer to do. So we come through here, each and every individual plant, we come through here, rip off these runners, and every single plant, 45,000 plants need the same care as, I mean, they're all the same. So we also come through here, pull out the weeds, the grass that's been growing there. But overall, we have a really clean stand of berries here. So that is the most important job as the farmers, to come through here, pull up all those runners. And then another thing on the management side of things is keeping these strawberry plants fertilized. So we come through here every 10 days, 7 to 10 days or so, and fertilize them just so we could develop and grow the plants to the biggest possible. And as you can see here, these plants are planted the 16th and 17th of September. So a lot later than those over there. But these over here, I'll put a picture up of how they looked when we first transplanted. They're just small, they're yellow, they're dinky. They had a few leaves on them, and now look how they've grown. And these are my Chandlers here. Over there, we have the Ruby June and Sweet Charlie. We have 10,000 Ruby June, 10,000 Sweet Charlie, and 25,000 Chandlers. So the bulk of our harvest will be the Chandlers, and I'm glad these are really kicking up in gear now and growing these plants. That's what I'm hoping, that we'll get another good month of growth out of these, so that our main variety here, Chandler, will be growing to its full potential. Look at this, absolutely gorgeous. These plants are huge, growing nicely. Pulling runners is not a fun job. It's a really back-breaking job, but it needs to be done. And you know, the majority of the time, one time pulling the runners is decent. If we have another month of growth, we're gonna have to come through here and do it one more time before we put the row covers on. So like I mentioned, our goal as a farmers is to develop as many crowns as possible. And here on our farm, my goal is to hit at least 6 crowns, develop 6 crowns, and after those 6 crowns, then we will put the row covers on, or whenever the average temperature reaches 20 degrees, put the row covers on, and then we'll just leave them covered all winter long. And throughout the whole entire winter, the root system will continue to grow. The roots don't stop growing even though the plants do acclimate to the cooler weather. The root system doesn't stop because of the black plastic here. It keeps, the sun keeps it nice and warm. So I mean, even during the winter months, the plants are still growing, even though the tops on them aren't growing as much. So this back section here is all Chandler, and then over here, these are Ruby June. We got Ruby June here, and these plants are planted about 5 days before those. And this is my first year ever growing this variety. But look at this. It's absolutely amazing how big some of these plants are. Look at this, absolutely beautiful. These have already been pulled and plucked, and they'll just keep on growing. Nice, healthy, dark green plants. As a farmer, this is what you're gonna see. This is my 3rd year growing strawberries, and this excites me whenever you see the plants doing well. Next week, we're gonna come through here and mow this grass. So as you can see here, it's gotten nice and big, and this grass needs to be under control before we put the row covers on, because it will be bigger, as big as this or even bigger next spring when we take off the runners. So annual ryegrass is a winter annual, so it's going to grow the entire length of the winter. And let's hope we have a mild winter from the strawberry perspective. But if we have a mild winter, this grass is going to be 10 foot tall. Not really 10 foot tall, but you know what I'm saying. It's going to be really big, you know, whenever we take off the row covers in the spring. So that is the reality of growing strawberries here. Like I mentioned, a lot of work goes into them, but it's all worth it in the spring. So I believe Chandler's is one of those varieties that puts out the most runners, I believe. I think they measure them by the 10-foot spacing. So they measure 10 foot and they monitor those, the guys who are doing all the trials. And I think Chandler puts out 10 runners per, or I'm not really sure how they do by the foot, but I gotta look back and see exactly. But I know the Ruby June didn't have as many runners. I mean, it had very few runners, but the Chandlers have a lot. I mean, look at this right here. One plant alone has 3 runners here developing. Actually 4, look at this one, 4, 5 runners maybe. So I mean, it just depends how they're looking. In the fall, runners are fine. There's nothing wrong with runners, you know, that whenever they have nice, healthy, thick runners. And they say that if your runners are bigger than or as big as a soda straw, or I don't know how big they measure them, but this is a nice, healthy, fat runner there. So this is what you're gonna see. This is when you know your plants are healthy. But in the spring, if you have a lot of runners, that means you're not gonna have the production, and you're not gonna have the plants grew more vegetatively and didn't build enough crowns, and then that means you're not going to have the production, not going to be as great. Of course, you're going to have a ton of runners in the spring, but early on, first thing, if you're seeing a lot more runners in the spring than you are flowers, that means your crop is going to be very light. And that's one of the cool things strawberries do. You can kind of gauge the production. But if you just see 1 or 2 runners here and there in the spring, that means your production's be good, and you did stuff right, where all the energy went to building those crowns instead of building just vegetatively. We have this back section here to pull on these runners. It'll be our first time doing this back section here, and it should be good to go. We should be cruising. Like I mentioned, these Chandlers still need to grow yet. You know, these are the last ones planted back here, but I am very happy how they've grown and how they are looking so far. And let's hope for the best. Let's hope that they double in size before we put the row covers on, and that means we will see some nice production out of these strawberries right here. This is gonna be it for today. If you guys haven't already, Go and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day, and we will see you next time.